meet you. How are you doing?
I've been better. I'm a little nervous, but
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah, don't be nervous.
Can
If
you
there's, if you need a break at any time or it gets too much and you want to come back and do it even another day, I'm absolutely fine with that, honestly.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit and just tell us who you are and what you do and just anything you want to say?
Um, I'm Jen. I am Maryann's younger sister by 2 years, 8 months, and I believe 16 days. And 6 days, a little bit less than that. And I was 10 years old when she went missing. I was 11 years old when she was found. And yeah, so she's we share the same mom and dad. And, she was just my best friend, my absolute best friend in life. Um, and now I am, a happily married mother of four, and um, I try to spend, my days living as normal as possible. But I am grief stricken daily to this day, almost 26 years later. She does not leave my mind. There's not a day that goes by that I don't. She crosses my mind all day long. I talk to her all day long, especially when I'm going through something sad, especially when I'm going through, some great achievement in my life. Um,
Yeah.
she's just, it's like she's there, but I can't hear her talking back. And I fight for her in court at anything and everything that comes up. I never let, a court date go by, um, that I don't attend or speak or whatever it may be that is, necessary for our family to be involved in. Um, and yeah,
Okay, and I just want to say from me and my whole community, we're really, really, really sorry about your loss because I just can't imagine it. I've got six siblings, and you're so strong doing this. I know, obviously, it's really important for you to keep her memory alive, but at the same time, it must bring up so much trauma for you to do it. So we
it
appreciate you
does.
coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I've never done anything like this, and kind of was okay with not, but I think the time has come, and the situation kind of has evolved into the need to tell Marianne's actual story, and really put a rest to the nonsense surrounding Marianne's case that has recently come up, and that's just it's kind of mind blowing how this came about. But it's absolutely the time too. So I really sincerely appreciate this opportunity to be here with you tonight.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're really grateful to have you on. And obviously, once I've spoke to you and I've got it all in my head what's going on, then we can start making some videos and really get them out there and try and to push them because obviously, I always normally start with videos, but I know when I spoke to you, you said that a lot of the media reports aren't actually the true story and actually what's happened. So I thought we'll hear straight from you and then we can go from there. So,
Beautiful.
um,
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to do the questions that I gave you first of all, and then afterwards you can tell us about what's going on at the moment and what you're fighting against at the moment on social media and stuff, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the questions that you gave me, actually, I have. So the first question being, who was Marianne? What was she like? That one I have. Well, I kind of would prefer that one to actually be addressed second, only because it
Okay.
kind of makes a little more sense.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
okay, so the second question was, what was her family life and childhood like? And I feel that
Yeah.
one's needs to be addressed first. So, our parents were, they were married in 1991, and Marianne was born, excuse me, 81. Sorry. And so my parents from 81 to 84, they were just madly in love and enjoying each other, free children. And then along came their baby girl. And I'm gonna need the tissues from over there. Um, she absolutely just lit up their whole life and gave them purpose, that little box. And she really brought joy to just our whole family. My mom is one of 10, and at that time she had 8 living siblings. So, Maryann came into this giant family, and she, as a toddler, she just had this massive, um, bubbly, giggly personality and just, so much joy. And I can't, I can't, sorry, I was having an
Okay.
echo from my best friend's phone. And
Take your time.
so, she was just, it was just her and them. And then I was born in December of 86, and she loved her role as big sister.
It's okay.
Like I was her little doll baby. And it was a little tough.
It's fine. Just take your time, honestly. We've got all the time in the world.
Okay. And yeah, I guess like she just enjoyed like well, my mom nursed us girls, so she didn't have the opportunity to help bottle feed me. So when it was time to for like baby foods, she enjoyed probably making a heck of a mess out of feeding me. And helping mom change or pick an outfit. And mind you, she was only 2.5 well, a little over 2.5 when I was born. So I'm sure it didn't go well, but she would attempt to dress me. And, I was born with a crazy head of hair. So playing with my hair and just, I was her baby, her dolly. And then, so when I was 6 months old and Maryann was 3, our dad passed away suddenly at 32 from a heart attack.
I'm so
And
sorry.
thank you. And so, my mom then became a single mom of 2. And she kind of spent her time, now that we were without our dad, and not so much me because I was such a peanut. I didn't know what I was missing, but Maryann, she knew that there was now an absence, that dad, her daddy was gone. And so as much as like Maryann needed her dad and her mom, mom needed us right back
Yeah.
to help her through that. So our bond went from just, like mom and daughters to like mom and like we really became her everything, more so because now we were helping to hold her broken heart together. And so she really devoted all of her life, even till now, till this day, but she really devoted her life to us, and tried to give us the most, loving home, and try to keep it as normal as possible. And then, sorry.
It's fine.
So she didn't date for a couple years. It was just Cindy and her girls. And then she did date, and she met a really cool guy. Her brother set her up with a friend of hers, and he was like a really cool hippie rocker dude, and things were cool. I mean, I do have memories of him, and at that time I was probably 4 or so. And so I have a little bit of memories of him being at our home and what he was like. And I do remember going and seeing him play live music in his garage with his band. And so he was cool, but him and mom, she's not a rocker, and she didn't smoke
Yeah.
pot, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
You're fine.
so she wasn't like exactly the same. So it didn't work, but were friends. They could definitely be compatible as friends, but not together. And 2 weeks later, after their breakup, she found out she was pregnant.
Wow. Okay.
And that was her pregnancy with Victoria. And she told the father, and right away he was like, let's do this. Let's be a family. Let's raise our baby. And, it'd be me, you, the baby, the girls. And mom said something along the lines like, I, I don't want that. We're better as friends. Let's just co-parent and be friends. And they did,
Yeah.
and it worked. And, he was there for Vicky, and still, our house was still void of a man, and it was still just Cindy and her three girls. And so, though Vicky had her dad, we still were all growing up without the 24-hour day, 7-day a week father figure in the home.
Yeah.
And life was fun. Life was really a lot of fun. There was a lot of love and extreme amount of cuddling and tickle fights, and just it was such, I don't know, I can't imagine life any other way. It was just, for me, I look back on my early childhood and I feel genuinely blessed to have had a mom so devoted to her girls
She does sound
and
like
to
an
do it
amazing
alone.
woman.
She really is.
Yeah. She does sound amazing. I raised three girls by myself. I know what it's like to have an all-girl household. And if we're not baking, they're fighting, they're tickling, they're shouting. There's hormones everywhere. But I wouldn't
Yeah,
have it any other way.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Um, so yeah, so you can relate. That was life. And she did stay single, and she kind of made like this vow, like, nobody's gonna be good enough for my girls. I'm just gonna, it's just gonna be me and them. And well, she did end up dating one more time and had one more baby girl. Well, I'm jumping ahead. She got engaged, and that was pretty cool. I mean, he had a house next door to ours, so he didn't live in our house. So we still didn't have like a stepdad role, still didn't have that male figure. But he was around, and they were engaged. And my mom found out she was pregnant with baby number 4.
Wow.
And the father, he didn't really want to have another child. He had one son who was his pride and joy, and he was not very excited. Um, Not that my sister didn't turn out to be super special, because she is, but he himself was just not interested. So he said, well, we could be married and together, or you can have the baby. And she said, well, I'm having my baby, and get out of here. It was over. So now she was single with 4 girls. And she's always, to this day, it's just been Cindy and her girls. That's just
Oh,
who she's known for, is, and that never changed. She never had another serious relationship again. Um, and she put us first. And that was for a few reasons, but primarily to keep us safe, that she was
yeah.
not going to put a man in her household with her girls, especially now having 4. That was, she was protecting us. And, so she really made a huge sacrifice to spend the rest of her life alone for us.
Yeah.
And so that can kind of lead into who Maryann was, which was your first question.
Yeah.
Um, Growing up, she was an incredibly um, loving and caring big sister. And she had this bond with her mom that you could just read it. Like, they didn't even have to be talking, but you could just see their love for one another. Um, I can't even really describe it. It was just different. Like, that was my mom's firstborn. That was the girl who made her a mom, um, who she got to share in like just feminine things with. So, so Maryann she was very, she was she was spunky and silly, and she had this infectious laugh that um, I've kind of gotten that trait from her. It could be obnoxious at times, but um, she was sincerely an extremely happy person, and even as children and as she approached her teen years, um, just so loving and like an old soul. Like it didn't matter if you were a child or an adult, like you could just easily enjoy your time with her. Um, because she wasn't like one of those like annoying kids where you're like, oh, geez, girl, stop talking, go away. It wasn't like that. It was, you would enjoy her presence, just every minute of being with her. And then she started to turn into a teenager, and there she is. And
Sorry, I
so
don't want to make you sad. I just want everyone to see her, just so they know who you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah, there she is. Um, so yeah, as she became a little bit older, that void of not having a dad, um, it started to become like, like more of a thing as you reach adolescence. Like, um, there was an attention that, like, granted, we had fantastic uncles, um,
Yeah,
who really, they were there, and they just, I mean, our uncles, I mean, they weren't with us 24/7, and they're not our dad, but they were the males in our lives, but it just wasn't a dad. It's not the same. And so I think as Maryann got into her teen years, I feel like she started to, actually, it only started just a few months before she died. Literally, she died in October. She turned 13 in March. I don't feel like it was until maybe May or June that she even really kind of started to have an interest in boys. Um,
yeah,
and that's, she did start to change just a little bit, where she was not so much like playing school and house with me anymore. Um, she was having more interest in like spending time with her friends. I mean, she's becoming a teenager and I'm still 10. So, she's starting to hit puberty, or she was going through puberty, and interests were just changing. It didn't change that she was still like extremely loving and very protective, um, like a big brother, but she was a sister. She was very, just looked out for us, but she did start to spend more time, out of the house and with other friends versus spending all of her time playing in the backyard with me. But it
yeah,
didn't take away from her being, sweet and loving and a big sister. She just wasn't in the home every day. And
yeah.
hang on, I need to turn the screen back on for my notes.
That's fine.
Mm,
It's quite a normal progression, isn't it, at that age to start branching out, spending time with different people. You find your feet a little bit more, and you hit that adolescence bump where you kind of just trying to find yourself and who you are. So that's
yeah, yeah,
she's got she's got stunning eyes. She's got amazing eyes, your sister.
yeah. She's pretty. Yeah,
Beautiful.
she's so
She's
pretty.
beautiful. Striking eyes.
Uh, that's actually one of the things where you said, what was she like? And the very first thing I put was Maryann was so pretty. And she looked like our dad.
Yeah, she is
She
beautiful.
was young and carefree. She, she really was.
You're
I
doing
think
really,
she
really good.
really enjoyed. What's that?
I said you're doing really, really, really good. Just take some time, take a few breaths. You're
Thank
doing
you.
amazing.
She was like a really great friend, and she was a great sister, but she was a great daughter. But really, really, she was just a loving person. And unfortunately, she was really trusting,
Yeah.
and she didn't have like a fear. There was like she was like fearless, and I mean the girl wasn't even afraid of the dark. And like we lived by the woods, and I remember um the spotlight in the yard would come on and light up the woods, and I would be so spooked. And I don't necessarily know what I was spooked by, but it was just like eerie.
Yeah.
And and even when she was maybe 11 and 12, she would always just kind of like there's nothing to worry about. Like the house is locked and mom's downstairs, she's protecting us. Like there's nothing to be afraid of. And unfortunately that carried on into the fact that she didn't really have a fear of no stranger danger. She didn't. um I don't know, I think that she unfortunately probably just had, because of who she was, um I don't think she realized that not everybody was a good person. And we were raised with all good people. And everybody we were ever around was loving, generous, giving, thoughtful. And I think that unfortunately she just felt like that's all there was in the world, that, you know,
Yeah.
bad guys didn't exist. We didn't even grow up watching scary movies and horror, and, like that didn't even happen. So, um, I don't even think that she realized there could possibly be anything other than happy and happy-go-lucky and positive people. Unfortunately, she was kind of like blind to what was really
Yeah.
out there, because I guess we were sheltered from it. I don't think intentionally. I think it was just because we were surrounded by good people. And
Yeah, it sounds like that. It sounds like your mum protected you and kept you so safe and happy at home that she kind of like all she knew was like girly things, stuff like obviously no man in the house, and she just didn't and that's just proves how much your mum did raise her to be just, do you know what I mean? Just to feel so safe at home that even things like the dark and the woods just didn't seem like they could hurt her.
right, exactly. Oh,
Thank you, April.
I feel a little bit sick to my stomach.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nauseous, but this is typical of my emotions when thinking of everything that happened, and everything she missed out on.
I know it must be awful.
Babe, will you turn that off because it's kind of hard to hear? Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, just take your time. We've got all night if you need all night. Just take your time and just take it at your own pace. You're doing really, really well.
Okay, thank you. I was just wanted to take a second. We have a lot of friends in the and
Yeah, of
family
course.
in the comments section and viewing, and really they're so supportive for all of my
Take
life.
take a couple of minutes if you want to go through some of the comments, and you can read some out if you like, and then we can go on from there. You've had so much support while you've been talking. You've got family there, you've got friends, you've got people loving on your mum, you've got people just supporting your sister, telling lovely memories about her.
Yeah, it's just really good to see their supportive, encouraging words.
Yeah, you've got loads of support and love around you here.
Love you, Ashley. They're commenting. I don't want to just miss all of them because I could just keep yapping away. Uh,
Yeah, everyone's been so supportive.
Yeah, and they're sharing little memories and just little blips. April, thank you. Sammy Joe, thank you. How about Vicky? I don't know what that was in regards to. She's probably not here.
I love things like Donna put, she used to put barbecue sauce on her mashed potatoes and dip her nuggets in it. And just little things like that just make every single victim so special, because that's what we concentrate on here. Like, I love to hear about the victim, who they were, what they were doing, where they went to school, were they funny. Like, it should be about so much more than what happened to them. And, like, it's so much more important than that.
Yeah, oh God, she'd have weird concoctions with her food. She loved Italian dressing on everything. And I'm trying to remember, there was something that she would eat with Italian dressing, and I thought it was so gross. Oh, her spaghetti with pasta with Italian dressing or with pasta sauce. Like, why are you doing that? It's so gross. It just didn't make sense. Um, uh, whew. All right. My stomach is starting to settle. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Oh, there's so much love and support. Thank you guys. I'm really, really thankful for this opportunity.
Um, we're lucky to have you on. We literally, you've been so brave, and we have family members on of crime quite a bit, but obviously it takes so much to do it, to speak about it, and obviously to go through what you and your family went through and re-traumatize yourself again and again in order to get your sister's story out there must be so hard. And the things you're going on at the moment
Mhm.
with your other sister, um, so you're having to
Yeah.
deal with the grief as well as having to stick up for your mum and your family and everything. You shouldn't be put in that situation. You really shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because this whole our life has already been this is a tragedy that it doesn't go away. You know, if I had lost her in a more natural way or even in an accident, then I guess it would be a little bit easier to heal
Yeah.
and like overcome or whatever you want to call it. But this is like being yeah, we can't accept it because of how horrific it was and how how sad it was for her. And like you can't help but think of her. I think of how scary it was. And and then we just try to live our life regular and get through this. And then at the same time I'm now having to defend things that are so disgusting and so far from true. Like my mom doesn't deserve it because I know a lot of great women. I mean, I don't know very many women that I don't think highly of. But to me, my mom is my hero. And she's like the most giving and loving and generous person I've ever known. She doesn't deserve this.
No,
And
she
it's so
doesn't know.
painful to have to spend almost every day for 8 months, like defending a woman that had nothing to do with this and spent her life loving her girls.
No, no, my heart breaks for your mum, because I think I can't imagine losing a child in the way your mum has, and I can't think of anything braver than having to go on living every day after that for your other children. Like, it makes me like so gutted for your mum that now she's having one of the remaining children that she lived every day for turn on her like that. It just breaks my
For
heart because
money. And it's for money. It's like that's where it has to come from. It has to be about money. And, grifting, which is a phrase I didn't know until now, is where you just don't you don't work and you don't take care of your adult responsibilities, and you just kind of get other people to, feel bad for you and donate to you. And so this is like the most awful thing. If, like you can tell the story and do it without the lies and you don't need to exaggerate this trauma and make our mom and our entire family out to be monsters for a paycheck. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know.
There are really people who are responsible for this.
Right, this whole thing that there really is 8 people responsible for ending her life, and every person that's gotten dragged on TikTok has spent 26 years almost grieving and supporting and fighting for justice, and in the courts, not on TikTok, because that does nothing. And now to see everybody, I mean, everybody for the most part is like not exerting too much energy or even worrying about it too much. They're like, let her talk. It's just talk. But I feel like they're all such great people and they've all been there for us my whole life, but they don't deserve it. And I can't just sit back and let this kind of stuff go on, because good people should be defended.
No, 100%.
And
I think. Carry on. Sorry.
I don't understand how she's not putting her energy into, do this productively. If you want to tell the story and have sympathy, why can't you just keep it with the real 8 people that really caused our lifelong trauma?
Yeah.
But, why hurt the people that have hurt right along with us all this time? I don't get it. I can't understand this.
No, it's
And I know that this, Maryann is not watching, and proud of it. This behavior is completely, it's not something that anybody is proud of, including, our angel in heaven. Sarah, will you kill the fish tank light? It's making it weird. I just look awful from the side. Okay, so third question you had, I don't mind kind of getting back to that.
okay.
Was what was going on in the time around the crime, and where was she mentally, emotionally, and socially, which I kind of feel like we really did talk about. But so she was, now kind of what would you call it? Not really spreading your wings, because
Coming into her own stride.
yeah, just kind of coming into her own and becoming her own person. And she was a social butterfly. She was very oh, excuse me, sorry.
Okay.
She was a very social person, and if you if you were a nice person, she she wanted to be your friend. And I mean, the only people that there was like very few girls in school maybe that were kind of like catty, and those are probably the only people on the planet that she didn't get along with, and that was just kind of because of their cattiness, not necessarily her just not liking them. And otherwise she was like really social and outgoing. And I feel like, and I could be wrong, because she started to open up more to her best friends, maybe in a little bit less with me. So mentally and emotionally, I know from talking with her friends that her best friends are now my best friends. I've had them my whole life. And this year especially has brought us even closer together, because we've all been in this together. And so in talking with her best friends, I've gotten little bits more than I realized. Like, she would talk to the girls about like missing our dad and having that emptiness that at that time I was not experiencing yet myself.
Yeah.
Um, because, I had my mom, dad, and that's all I needed. I didn't know I needed more. And she did. She realized that, other friends' households had both parents, and, she would just see just a dad mowing the lawn. It's like our mom mowed our lawn, or our
Yeah.
friend Scott mowed our lawn. And it was like just these little things where it's like she did start to take notice that, you know, our dad wasn't present. So
Yeah.
I guess that did start to, she was feeling it. Other than that, I don't think, like mentally or emotionally, that she had anything going on, that was, that would make her sad or depressed or anything along those lines. I
Yeah.
feel like she was just really super happy and positive and energetic, and she loved life.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is really why it's so unfair that they took it from her.
Yeah. Did you do well at school? Did you do well at, was she in school and she did well at school and she like kind of was academic or sporty or
No. So academically, no. Maryann had ADHD, and
okay.
it was untreated. And so, you know, and we can't even, it was not diagnosed. But now, as the mother of four, three of which are diagnosed with ADHD, including myself,
Okay.
now I can look back and see exactly why she struggled the way she did, especially when she got to middle school and there was multiple classes to juggle. Um, it is quite obvious that that was the cause of her struggle. So academically, no, she wasn't so good. But just
Okay.
because she couldn't focus, and she was so
Yeah.
talkative and social, even in class. And the teachers, I I ended up having a few of her teachers, and then as an adult, I have since spoken with teachers I've bumped into, and they would just say the same thing, like she was just so social. And if we could have just kept her to zip her lips and put her, her nose in the bug, it would have been great, like things along those lines. But she just was too social to do well. Now, prior to middle school, when it was, elementary school, when there's only
Yeah.
one classroom all day, she was a lot, more well behaved then. But there was just a lot less going on in the school day. So um, I don't really recall her, she wasn't like on any sports teams, or she wasn't athletic. Um, but she was full of energy, and like she was like me and her, we were climbing trees and hiking in the woods, riding bikes and rollerblading. And um, so like neighborhood sports and stuff like that, she
Yeah.
was, very involved in, just not in the school setting, not on actual teams. And she was into like listening to music and dancing and tanning in the yard with her best friend Michelle. And
Scott said he was the lawn boy.
Scott was the lawn boy. He's actually the one that taught me to fix the lawnmower. Well, Mom and Scott taught me how to fix the lawnmower from various breakdowns. That is so funny. Wait, I wanted to catch that. Sounds like we had some really good times that got into mischief. Ah, mischief. That is the word, actually. That is a perfect word that somebody just used. She was just a little bit mischievous. And um, she was also a prankster. She actually, she would prank me, and oh gosh, I can't think of a particular time. Uh, like, okay, so I don't like blue cheese dressing to this day. My husband could tell you I absolutely can't stand it. And sh I loved ranch, and she would purposely put blue cheese, as my dip for whatever. She'd be like, "Oh, here you go, I got it," and she'd put it on my plate, and then for me to taste it, you know. Um, just like silly things like that. I don't know. Maybe it was because I was a little sister, and you got to pick on somebody. Um, but hold on one second. So mentally, emotionally, socially. So at the time of the crime, huh? Tell me. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. My best friend's here and my
Okay, so it's
husband.
support.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice
So
to have them with you.
one second. You know what? These aren't connecting either. I really wish I knew where the little ones were. Oh, maybe in my purse in the bathroom. Will you check for me? And I think the little black case is in there. Like they're in their case. Yeah. Thank you, babe. Um, so around that time, she was definitely starting to be into like hanging out with friends, and a few of her very best friends that are in the comments. I want to point them out because they're wonderful, beautiful people. It was Michelle and Donna Hill and Scott and Ashley Horton. They were in the comments. And Stephanie. We all took trips and loved. We all went to anger management class. We all took trips and loved most times in school. I think somebody wanted to make sure she didn't join. I don't know what Aunt Linda's talking about. Oh, my Aunt Linda's right there. So all of her, hang on, let me see if I can get this to connect.
It's okay.
It says,
Just bear with for a minute, guys.
oh, there I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
you're back.
There you go.
Where's
Yeah,
this
you're
guy
back.
talking?
Sorry, that was me that come
Okay,
from. I've got that gone now. Sorry.
that one's
Yeah,
not
take your time.
connecting. No, that's not working. That's fine. So she was just kind of going from like a little girly girl to wanting to do a little bit older girl things, like walking down the street. So we grew up on a hill on a dead end road. Um, our house was the last one before this large. There was three large apartment buildings. Very nice. Not like I don't know. It was very nice, and the neighborhood was really beautiful. And we were like surrounded by woods. So like we grew up all these tons of neighborhood kids. I'm talking, there was 45 apartments, and at least 50% of them had kids. And then all the way up the street, there was like 12 houses on the street, I believe, and probably 75% of them had kids. So,
Yeah.
we grew up all like really like playing together, riding bikes, water gun fights, mud pies, um, just regular kids of the 90s. And those last just few months of her life, it was a little bit different. And so she would like hang out with Michelle, and because Michelle lived right past us in the apartments. And it's funny, actually, Michelle lived in the house. They moved out of the house and we moved in. And I think that that's kind of why our family all got really close. There were they had 4 kids, we had 4 kids, and we all had somebody right close in age that we really connected with. And so I think just the fact that we moved into their house kind of is maybe what Maryann and Michelle like kind of bonded over or something. So it was so I remember them laying out at the apartment complex on the lawn tanning, and Michelle was just telling me that they got burned on more than one occasion with banana boat tanning oil, and they didn't learn their lesson. They would just keep doing it, and they would also bring out the Michelle's boombox, and oh my gosh, they would listen to the Tootsie Roll song. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there was a whole dance to it and everything.
Yep.
And so they would listen to like hip hop and R&B, and then also listen to country. And so they would be like blasting Shania Twain's album and like line dancing. And yeah, that's so when she started to hang out with kids that were older, the kids that were older were only 13, 14, 15. So maybe like 1 or 2 grades above her, but not older. Like
Yeah.
they weren't 16, 17, 18. So close in age, but still considered to be a little older than her. And I don't know, Scott, when we talk about, Scott is in the comments. I just want to ask
Yeah.
him and I just
Scott.
want his input. Scott, when I start talking about it, is it okay to talk about it and not hurt your feelings or upset you? I don't want to. Scott will know what I'm talking about with this. I don't know if he's there.
He was here a second ago.
So
Oh, he's here.
It's okay. All right. Um, so Scott had moved into the neighborhood, and he and Maryann and Michelle were all super close, and they were best friends. But when Scott moved into the neighborhood, his dad had just passed away, and he was 12, and he had an older sister who, I'm not positive of her age, but I'm guessing like 15 or 16. And and she was also Maryann's friend. She was probably the first friend of Maryann's that was at like that age group, like the next age group. And so Scott was, and his 2 older siblings, having just lost their dad, they were really close. And so some of her friends, were also his friends, even though he was like the kid brother. Like, he was the younger one in that bunch. But, oops, sorry about that. I knocked it off the
Sorry.
stand. Oh, goodness gracious. What am I doing here?
It's okay, it's normally me.
Okay, sorry. So let me think, because this next part does lead into the crime, and I want to be sensitive about it. So Scott and his siblings were going through some things emotionally, very emotional. Like, it was hard for them, having just lost their dad, and they lost him in a pretty tough way for kids. And so that left them with confusion, and and then they started like smoking cigarettes to kind of, not to be cool, but because, the adults around him that were hurting, they were cigarette smokers. So that was like a little thing that, well, if they're doing it, you get stressed out, you smoke a cigarette. So then, he and his siblings would do something like that. And then,
Yeah.
and then like drinking beer. I don't know. Am I allowed to say that on live?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
So it was like just not, they were not like wild and out of control, but they were doing the next thing.
Just experimenting and just finding their feet and
Experimenting, that's the word,
just like
correct.
sneaking around a little bit. We all did it. We all did it.
Right. Yeah. So that was kind of, starting for them. And for them, it was experimenting not just for fun, but also to um, dull the pain that they were going through, you know?
Yeah.
And their mom was really hardworking and she was really brokenhearted. And, so that family was going through a lot. And then,
Yeah, Scott,
can
I'm
you guys
sorry for
keep
your
an eye
loss
on
as
the
well.
comment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just keeping, I just want to pay attention
Good.
to comments. Okay. So his sister and brother, being a little older, had a little bit older group of friends. And no, mind you, this was a dead-end neighborhood, and our house was the last one before the apartments. And
Okay.
the first apartment building driveway,
Yeah.
um,
Have a good discussion.
well, you're looking at me like I'm supposed to, is everything okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they would have like they would hang out in the parking lot that was nearest to our house, and it was close. Ow. And that's kind of how this group of 8 people ended up in our neighborhood,
Okay.
and like right there, um, steps away from our door. So they would come over to hang out with Scott's siblings, and Maryann would be hanging out with Scott, and then ended up introduced to them, which I just want everybody to know, like, Scott holds an extreme guilt over her being introduced, and that has hurt his heart all of these years. And that's why this part is so, um, this is a tough part to be talking about, especially with Scott and watching, because, I know that it hurts. Like he wishes he could undo it, but he was just a kid going through a really hard time, and he didn't know he couldn't see what was coming.
Oh,
So,
100%. 100%
um,
agree with you. Obviously, he couldn't have foretold what was going to happen, and we can't blame. He was young himself, and obviously,
Of course.
right,
the only people who are at fault here are the people who committed the crime. That's the only people that can be blamed for what happened. All love here, Scott. Honestly.
yeah. Um, so I'm gonna just like sidestep for just a quick second because this part
Okay.
was really important, where
Yep.
the nonsense that's been talked about on TikTok, where Maryann was um, running away, and that's how she met them, and that's so far from true. She met them steps from our door while hanging out with her best friends from the neighborhood. Um, she didn't go anywhere to meet them, but
Yeah.
right there, you could see the parking lot. The parking lot was on the side of the building towards our house, and I mean, it was right there. Um, so, she wasn't a runaway. And runaway would be her and Michelle, or Michelle Scott, her and Scott, whatever, just like walking down the road, which was, how far is the road? An eighth of a mile. It's such a short road. Like I said, there's only maybe 12 houses on the road. So they would like, running away would be going down to the stop sign, which was just down around the corner. Um, and yeah, she wasn't running away to these people. They were unfortunately right there. And so I hope that clears up that question for some people, or just
Yeah.
helps them to better understand that she met them right there. And hang on one second. I know there's like something going on in the comments right now, and people are upset with somebody named Trina. I'm hoping it's not one of my best friends.
It is true.
Oh, it is Trina.
She
Okay.
We
Yeah,
have
it's just a
there was a
misunderstanding.
there was
Misunderstanding?
yeah, there was people coming in laughing, and then we blocked them. My mods are really quick, and then she laughed at something you were saying, like laughing along with you, and they muted her. But I unmuted her very quickly when I realised that
Oh,
when everyone else vouched for her, it was just my
okay.
mods are right on it because we always work with victims
Yes.
of crime. Like we just anything bad, we're just like you're out. So we
Okay.
apologise, Trina. It really was just a misunderstanding to protect Jennifer.
Okay. That's what I was getting at. I was like,
Dealt
wait,
with.
I'm not sure what's going on, but Trina's like,
No,
she's one of my best friends. That's
no, it's
Scott's
dealt with.
baby mama.
Sorry. She was just laughing
Good.
along with you at a
Yeah.
memory you said, and then
Yeah.
everyone else was like thought it was. I think they thought it was your sister coming in to cause trouble.
Oh, no,
So
no.
they just blocked.
Okay. Okay,
But
good. No,
she's all blocked. We are sorry, Trina.
okay. There we go. Um, let me get back to the bottom of those comments. All right. So, oh, you know what? I closed this up and I didn't mean to because it's your questions and I am keep popping back on. Hold on. I had to reopen the computer.
That's fine. Yeah, we are sorry, Trina. It was really it was just a mistake, and we corrected it as soon as we knew what was going on.
Okay. Trina's tough. She'd be on anyone harassing Jenny before the mods. Yeah. Trina's got my back. Trina always bringing the damn drama, says Scott. That's so funny. Oh, it's so
I
funny.
think
All right.
I have the fastest mods on the app. My mods are so fast just because we just try to protect the victims in cases like if we cover Madeleine McCann, we might have 2,000 people in the room, and you just get so many trolls and horrible people. It just
Right.
brings them out. It's just, but
Right.
Trina said, "What can I say?"
Oh God, I love that. That's so funny. So now we're kind of have moved down to the crime itself.
With the
I believe.
crime, honestly, just tell us what you're comfortable with. We never sensationalise anything on here. We don't need to know all of the gory details. We are completely aware this is a sister talking about a sister, and they can look up the rest of the stuff. So honestly, anything you're not comfortable with, just don't mention it. Honestly,
Okay.
don't push yourself to the limits at all on that.
Okay. I've got to just kind of think for a moment. And some of it actually from the comments, like they may be even able to fill in some spots. Um, like like Scott, I'm sure he'll have little bits that help me to better understand the transition, like how she went from hanging in the neighborhood to hanging out with them away from the neighborhood. I know that thank you, Cassidy. Oh, Cassidy in the comments, that's Maryan's medium. Maryann came to her in early 2000, 2001, 2002, and she pretty much helped Cassidy to understand that she was in fact a medium. And now Cassidy has flourished as a medium, and we only just met, and she was able to give me everything I have sought all of my life. Like, I had one conversation with her, and now I don't know, just one conversation with her helped me to stop searching for that medium that could connect me, because all I need to know is that she is here. Maybe not all of the moments of all of the days, but she does come here, and she does send me signs, and I'll see her when I get there. And that's what I needed to know. So Cassidy, I love you and I appreciate you coming over here.
Yeah, Cassidy, that's amazing. Amazing that
Yeah.
you brought her sister back to her.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, the things that the validation, I don't, she's just incredible. So,
Amazing.
Um, all right, so I'm not positive of.
So Scott's put, she never used to come hang out. She used to come and hang out with us, but she never partied. I never saw her do anything besides smoke. So I don't know if that helps you. I think he was answering back when you said, could he give you a little bit of background?
I think it has to do with the teen center opening that place together.
Okay, yeah, the teen center. Okay, so that could have been how it left from our neighborhood and ended up away from home because now this is a very short span of time, just sometime in the summer, like July or August, that she met them. Um, and then she was gone in October. So, like I said, originally it was just kind of hanging out in the neighborhood. And then in New Milford downtown, there was a place that opened called the Teen Center that should have immediately been shut, and the police they should have been paying attention. It was being run by the Bates family, June Bates, one of the ones in prison for killing Maryann. I want to say it was her
Right.
grandfather that was running the place. I could be wrong at what the familial connection was, but it was a man in her life, and he allowed things that it's a teen center. It's for 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-olds, and he was allowing all the bad stuff. All the stuff teens shouldn't be doing. It was all going on that property, and um, which is how so Maryann and June were hanging out and at that place, and June happened to be tied into that group.
Okay.
So Maryann kind of ended up having more than one connection into that group. It was Scott on our neighborhood, and then that teen center, and meeting June really brought her in with all of them.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to skip because I can't. There's parts over the next few 2-3 weeks or so that I'm not positive of. Maryann and the
Okay.
killers are the only ones that could speak on it, but over the next few weeks of her hanging out with them, she at some point had inappropriate relations for a 13-year-old with adult males. And no, none of the guys were under 19.
Oh,
None of the guys were under 18, so not one of them legally should have, anything to do with her. And stuff happened. And one night, what? Yeah. Yeah. So my mom was sitting on the patio and Maryann came out. This is the part that this part really is what leads to the crime actually happening. This is why they did what they did. And I'm live. Sorry, my daughter just got home. She's looking confused. My husband's gonna go tell her. She has no idea I'm on here. She'll come in and start a whole big conversation. So that night she told my mom, like she came and rested, she kneeled down and put her head on my mom's lap and just started weeping, and then the weeping turned into crying, and mom, like rubbed her head and like, what's the matter, baby? And Maryann didn't say anything initially. She just continued to weep. And I think at that moment, she must have been working up to having the courage to tell her that the most adult thing that had ever happened to her had happened to her. And so yeah, she wept for a minute, and then it turned into crying. And my mom said, like, baby, you could tell me anything. You could tell mommy anything. What's the matter? And I don't know, Mom never told me, but I feel like she must have known because she had found out that Maryann was hanging out with an older group of people.
Yeah.
So she knew something, was coming, and she had to. So Maryann, she did tell her, like, Mom, I did this with these two. I feel so dirty, and I just feel disgusting. And she continued to cry. And Mom, told her, like, honey, you don't have to feel dirty or disgusting. You've done nothing wrong. And she let her know they took advantage of you, and they're wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And questions were asked, like, was it against your will, or was it I don't know that she knew the word consent, so it was kind of described to her, like, were you a willing participant or were you not? Because we need to get to the bottom of that,
Yeah.
and so Maryann explained that, yeah, it wasn't against her will. And so the mom said, well, you shouldn't be feeling the way you're feeling because, um, they shouldn't have done these things to you. And what they did is still a crime, even if you were willing. You didn't know any better. And, Maryann at that time had no idea that it would make her feel this way later. And, and Mom just wanted her to know, like, she didn't need to feel that way, that they should be punished for making you feel this way. And, like, you were taken advantage of. You're a child and they're adults. And so she,
Obviously
Sarah
at
May,
13
how old she was.
she wasn't old enough to consent. Do you know what I mean?
No,
It's
13.
it's statutory R word, and she's not old enough to say yes, even if she did say yes, so it's still a crime. And secondly, I just want to commend your mum for being the kind of mum that she could come to and say it, because I had people in the comments then, and I know people who I work with through my community who still to this day didn't tell their parents because they didn't want to disappoint them. They didn't think they'd go give a reaction. They felt too ashamed. So just the actual image of her putting her head in your mum's lap and knowing your mum was that safe space, just proves how safe and loved your mum was by your sister. Because the people I work with, like, I work with people who love their parents but just don't feel they can ever utter those words. So I think it just
Right.
backs up everything you say about their relationship and their bond.
Yeah. Yeah, they
It's a
really had a
beautiful thing.
bond.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of kids would go to their, the moms are always your protector, but your dad is your protector. And when you don't have the dad and you have only a mom,
Yeah.
you grow up and your mom is your protector. And on top of that, you know, we also there's that female bond that you can go to your mom when your period starts, or when she first started shaving her legs. My mom bought us, well, she started off by buying it for Maryann. I didn't get one for years later, but like a special razor. It was like that big, and it was
Yeah.
kind of like an octagon shape, and you could
Yeah.
twist the center and keep getting a new blade, and there would probably be like 6 new ones. But it was also like a safety, like a teens razor. So, like, Maryann was able to ask, like, Mom, I think I'm ready to shave my legs this summer. And that's the year she shaved her legs. And so yeah, she definitely could talk to our mom about, the girly things and the things that might be awkward to talk to a parent, and maybe you might instead ask a cousin or, your older sister. Like, but no, she could go to Mom for anything. So,
That's beautiful.
yeah, so she did. And so Mom did let her know, like, you shouldn't feel this way. They're wrong. And they really should pay for you feeling this way.
Yeah.
And asked her, if she would, does she want, my mom did not pressure her Did not tell her, you are going to do these charges. Nothing like that. It was,
Okay.
do you want to do that? Would that, do you think that that will make you feel better? Or, I wasn't there for the conversation, but um,
Yeah.
so Maryann did tell her she wanted to. And so then she didn't know. This is the part that's really upsetting, is because there was 3 girls in that group, and June had, like, of the 3 girls, June had really befriended her, at, or at least made her believe that. And lost track a little bit. So Maryann told June her intent,
Okay.
and which June then passed on to the group, and they found out actually before the first time Maryann ever went to the police. It was already then became knowledge of these people what she was going to do. So when she went on October 17th, it was a Friday, she went to the New Milford Police Department and spent a few hours there. First, it was initially the giving a statement verbally, just helping the police to understand entirely. And then from there, then you do the written part. Excuse me. And the written part it's more time consuming. And, so it started to kind of drag on, and she had ADD. So, she was kind of like, all right, I'm over this or whatever. She just didn't want, well, she had cried a lot. I know this to be true from the detective. This is knowledge of what happened there, that it got hard on her. And he said, like, why don't we stop for the weekend, and we'll pick up on Monday after school. He made arrangements to pick her up from the house. Didn't even, Mom didn't even have to drive her down. He would just come get her. It was the detective.
Okay.
And so that's what happened. And that's why her statement never got finished. Now, that's another issue that I have with the way the story has been told over the years, and the way people get the story wrong, is that she wouldn't cooperate with the police. And that's 100% not accurate. She was just worn out, and she was a 13-year-old child, and she needed a break. She needed
Yeah.
the break in between. So, yeah, so, right, she didn't get the chance to finish. So, he brought her home, and for her, well, so the detective, she had made arrangements, like, she was going to go home, and then she was going to go back down to the teen center, and then she was going to spend at least the evening with June. And we didn't know that hanging out with June meant really hanging out with these different guys. But so as far as we knew, it was going to be hang with June, weekend, whatever.
Okay.
And well, my mom did not know how there was no rules, and that when you're there, that they lived downtown, and they lived actually like 5 or 6 properties away from the teen center. And so she was just smack dab in the middle of downtown, basically, and with no rules, and secretly doing things that Mom wasn't even aware of. Like, Mom didn't know that she had started smoking cigarettes. And to this day, nobody has ever confirmed or denied. Like, we have no knowledge if Maryann ever even one time drank alcohol. We don't know.
Okay.
We don't. I don't recall ever hearing that she even ever smoked pot. I don't remember. if that ever happened. I do know that she smoked cigarettes, but anyway, so she was, the detective brought her home. She went into the house and changed, and I don't know what else she did. Like if maybe she had grabbed clothes to go to June's for the weekend or something. I don't know. I was outside, and I was actually talking to the detective while Maryann ran in the house. And I don't know, he was just making like, small talk with a young kid. I don't know, and not filling me in on what was going on. That's for sure. Yeah, I had no idea. And that's probably what I was questioning him about. Like, why are you bringing her home? Like, this is weird. What's up? So I think that's what he probably, I can't remember our conversation. However, I do remember when Maryann came out and so like we were standing by the like kind of by the cedar tree, which was by the road, which is right by where he parked his car. And like the last couple weeks or so, that when she would leave the house, she wouldn't necessarily like give me a hug and a kiss and take the time, to say goodbye. She'd just be like, all right, guys, I'm out of here and gone, Well, maybe not with mom because she always kissed and hugged mom goodbye. But as far as like the smaller siblings, it was like, all right, bye.
Yeah.
And this time she hugged me with both arms, not just like a one-armed hug, but like a full-on hug. And she kissed me and she said, I love you, baby sis. I'll see you when I get home. And then she never came home.
I'm so sorry.
God gives us those moments.
It's okay. Just take a minute.
I really am thankful that that was our last interaction, though. I mean, it could have been worse. I could have not had that last hug and kiss. And at last, I love you. And I know she meant it because I didn't say it first.
Yeah, no.
Trina said, love you, deep breath. Michelle said, I love you. Donna said, I love you. And of course,
I'm a fan.
You're a fan? Thanks, babe.
Yeah, no. She
Uh, yeah, so that weekend she was at June's house, or so we thought.
yeah.
And so Friday, I mean, no, that was Friday. She called it. Oh, Justin, the MVP over there. Okay, don't distract me. So Sunday afternoon, no, it was October, so the sun was going down a little bit earlier. That's just the way it is here in October. I don't know if it's like that where you are, but um, the what? Uh, he's like, what, babe? What are you talking about? Okay, so anyway, it was October and it was like the evening, and I think the sun had like, or it wasn't even like late evening, but maybe a little bit later afternoon. Like I could be wrong, but I'm guessing maybe like 4-ish. And so mom got a call from Maryann from the payphone. She called her collect. I was like, Mommy, come get me. Um, Now this part, Aunt Linda would better know what that call was. And I think Aunt Linda, I feel like mom, I think Aunt Linda was at the house or something. And I don't know, like she got on the phone and stayed on the phone with Maryann until mom got there or something. But I could be wrong. Anyway, mom left the house. She could hear them while she was on the phone with her. She could hear them yelling at her, like, you bitch, WHORE, like just nasty things. And my mom wasn't really aware that, nobody was aware, of course, that June had told everybody about this police report. And I guess not we, but Mom and Maryann probably just kind of thought that was, secret and safe with June. And it turns out that June instead spent a few days conspiring with that group. And even over the course of that weekend, the plan was already in action, and June knew the plan. And yet she still spent the weekend with her. And then somehow on Sunday, it went from her hanging out with Maryann to her hanging out with the group and them all taunting her and terrorizing her on the green and scaring her, whatever. So, Mom, no, not me. I was on my way to Big Y to go shopping. Okay. All right. So, Mom swooped down, got her in the car, and they took off. And when Mom got her, nobody was right there. She didn't see them.
Okay.
So she said, no, she was a single mom with 4 kids and money was tight. And so she figured since she was down off the hill and just to save gas, she also needed to go to the grocery store. So she zipped across the bridge in town and went right to the grocery store and had no idea she had been followed. She learned that later. But she told Maryann, like, come on in the store with me. We'll just grab a few things and be on our way home. And Maryann said, no, I'm tired, my feet hurt, and I'm cold. Like I just gonna sit in the car. And they did have a conversation for a few minutes. And so then Mom went into the store. And just a few minutes later, not very long at all, Aunt Linda came into the store and Mom said to her, like, oh, did you see Maryann in the car? Or like, did you say hi to Maryann in the car? And Aunt Linda was like, Mariann's not in the car. Or no, like, oh, where'd you park? Or something along those lines. Or Aunt Linda said, like, hey, I saw your car, knew you were here, whatever. Turns out Aunt Linda was parked like 2 or 3 cars past my mom, or maybe next to her, but she was right there. And so that's when Mom said, like, oh, did you see her? No, she's not there. Well, yeah, I left her in the car. She didn't come in with me. And Aunt Linda was like, Cindy, she's not in the car. And that was it. And she was just gone. And so I think Mom knew, that there was obviously danger, something dangerous had happened. Like there was danger involved. She wasn't like absent-minded or, she knew what that meant. Like it meant something. And so, she rushed out of there and she really couldn't get the police to take it serious. They're like, no, she ran away. She just wanted to run off with them, which is where like the whole runaway thing happened. They just didn't take it serious because there was no proof of anything to the contrary. There was no proof right off the bat that she had been kidnapped. There wasn't an eyewitness or anything, so they just kind of didn't take it serious. And so over the next 9 months, my family and friends and perfect strangers, just people from New Milford. So it was a small town, and so everybody, pretty much except for the police, really, to be honest. I guess the police said that they had 700 man-hours of searching. If you break 700 man-hours down into multiple police over the course of 9 months, 700 man hours is nothing. It's nothing in 9
No.
months. It's just not, you figure there's 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 police per shift kind of keeping an eye out for her, and they're calling that searching. It really breaks down to they did nothing. They didn't look for this girl,
They assume she was
and they just assumed like she had left the car and was at a friend's house, and kind of left it up to my family to go knocking on doors like, is Maryann here? And then our family put up flyers, reward posters, or missing person posters, and they just kind of weren't involved. They just kind of weren't involved. And
So,
the billboard was
sorry,
later.
during the time she was missing, did your mum know that something had happened? Did your mum was quite aware that she would have come home if she could?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and begging for police to listen.
She was begging the police to listen. And what kind of blows all of our mind is that this happened 2 days after
You had-
beginning this statement. Now, whether she finished the statement or not, the police department was aware and should immediately have looked
Yeah.
into those people. They should have beat their door down and say, where is she? What have you done with her? It would have been common sense. You know what I mean? It wouldn't take a rocket scientist. They wouldn't even listen to my mom when my mom was saying how she heard them taunting her, how they were yelling at her. Like, they just did nothing. It just didn't matter. But the Milford
Doesn't
police,
make any sense.
no, it doesn't.
Makes-
It was the shoddiest police work you could imagine. Like, just terrible. Laziness, just awful.
The whole town knew they did.
The whole town knew.
The whole town knew.
Exactly. For all 5, well, during the 9 months, nobody really knew for sure. But,
Yeah.
so then fast forward to the next July. No answers. We have no idea. Our family has searched. Like, I'm talking like walking down train tracks, even abandoned train tracks, to abandoned train cars, checking in those, going in abandoned buildings, and going in crack houses. Like, my uncles literally went and like invited themselves in, not knocking on the door, nothing. Like, just open up, went in, and like, where's my niece? I heard you know where she is. And these people were like, no idea, dude. She's not here.
Linda said
And
the cops, I'm going to interrupt. Linda said the cops said, Linda, take your sister to a mental health services. She needs lithium.
I remember that happening. They did when mom was that's in the comments, when mom was pleading with them. She is not a runaway. She's been taken. They told my aunt Linda, take your sister to, the hospital. She needs to be put on lithium, because she was going crazy searching for her kid and just begging to be heard. And because the police would not say that she's not a runaway, that there was some kind of crime suspected, the news stations would not run her story.
Cover it. No, they don't know
So,
if it's a runaway.
right.
It's-
So
I just
that's why
don't-
yeah.
Sorry, you carry on. I don't understand how her last interaction with your mum was phoning saying, come and get me, with people screaming abuse at her. She had just filed a report for 2 essays against her, and they didn't for 1 second think, let's go interview the people or get to the bottom of this situation. Like, it doesn't make any sense. She was a 13-year-old little girl.
Right. And it's obvious that the circumstance surrounding it is quite obvious,
Yeah.
where they needed to at least start. Like, I don't understand it. We'll never understand why they did what they did. So, hang on one second. So during the 9 months of the family searching, completely independent of any law enforcement's assistance, so that school year ended up really tough for me and my two younger sisters, because of our families, their need to keep us safe, and also their need to have all of their time had to be devoted to finding Maryann. We went to go stay. Me and my sisters went an hour away from home. We were out in the country. We were kept safe because nobody knew. There was so many rumors like, oh, this gang of Jamaicans stole her and, stuck a knife in her leg when they threw her in the back seat. I remember that rumor. And, oh, she's not coming home because she's pregnant. And just like all of these rumors. And with nobody, my family was like, are the kids safe? Are the other kids safe? Like me and my other sister, are we safe, or would we be next? So they sent us away to live with my aunt. So we did eventually come home and went back to school. And then it was July. And because of how screwed up the school year had been, I had to go to summer school. And I had this bus driver, Barb, who this one day she was so excited to tell me about her and her husband's jet skis, and they were going to go out on them like that evening or over the weekend or whatever. And then like the next school day, Barb wasn't there, and I didn't know why. And it turns out that Barb never came back because the night that she went out on the jet skis with her husband, she's actually the one who found my sister. And yeah, she just thought as she was coming up on her, she thought there was like a log in the middle of the lake, like a large piece of a tree. And so she went to swerve around it, and it tumbled, and she could see blonde hair coming out the end of the log. And that's when she immediately understood, well, what she just discovered. And so I later ended up working with Barb later in life as a bus driver, and we talked about this, and I got the chance to give her a hug, and we cried, actually. We cried at work over it because it's never left her mind. And so my bus driver found my sister, and so I continued to go to school for another day or two until the dental records, they asked everybody in the area with missing persons, like, can you have your dental records sent to the state police or whatever, give consent for them to be sent to maybe the coroner's office, whatever, And so my mom had to have the dentist send the records. And a conversation that I didn't know that had happened was they told my mom, Cindy, if it's her, we'll come up. If it's not her, I'll give you a call. And yeah, I didn't know that they had had that conversation. And so I was standing there in the kitchen, and we had a lot of people, which my mom and my family were preparing for that news in case it was her. They were all together. And so there was like just a bunch of adults. I don't even remember everybody that was there, but there must have been probably 6 or 10 people. and we heard a car door, and I was the one standing right by the door. So I just, peeked out the blinds and I said, Mom, Jim Mullen, that detective that was taking her statement. I said, Mom, Jim Mullen's here, and I said, there's a whole bunch of black cars, and Jim Mullen's getting out of the car, and there's a pastor with him, and I didn't know what that meant, and my mom dropped, and she had the most what is it, guttural scream. The sound that came out of her was it's never left my mind. And I think she froze. Oh, there she is. And so I guess everybody knew, that it was her, before they even opened the door. And my neighbors, they were out behind their house across the street, and they said that they themselves also have never heard a sound like that. The sound of a mother finding out that her daughter had been murdered and just thrown away in the lake. It was just, well, the river, but I don't know, that's a day that also never left, I think of it so often. And it's one of those ones that it just leaves a scar on your heart to be able to picture the day that the police show up with that news.
Yeah. And she'd been missing 9 months overall, was that right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was October 19th that she went missing, 1997, and then that was on July 15th, 1998. So that anniversary actually just passed 2 weeks ago.
Great, thank you.
I feel like I have an eyelash in my eye right now, too. Oh, this is cool. Sorry.
No, we're so sorry for your loss. Really, really sorry for your loss, and for your mum as well. I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine losing your sister or your daughter in that way. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Just got the number 2 grifter badge. So now, from the time she was found in 1998, it went from being a local police to a state police investigation, and we could thank God for that because, New Milford police were clearly not equipped to handle any type of investigation. So we did get lucky. But still, for 5 years, there was no answer, there was no arrest. And so the initial initial detective, he retired. The state police detective retired, and it got passed on. 2 other detectives came on to her case, or investigators, and one of them called Mom and was like, Cindy, I've gone through all of the evidence and I can't find your statements either to New Milford police or to us. And my mom said, what statements? And they're like, Cindy, you must have given statements. And she said, I've never given any statements. And wouldn't you know that neither police department ever took a statement from her And had they done that from day one, they would have known exactly where to look, who to go talk to. So, from the time the new investigators got on the case to the time that it was solved was pretty quick. It was. I can't recall exactly, but I will say it was likely less than a year before they had spoken to each of them and solved the case. And they actually, it was
Wow.
incredibly impressive that the day that the arrests happened were October 17th, and had the arrests not been made that day, 2 days later would have been 5 years, and all of the conspiracy charges and the SA charges all would have been gone because of statute of limitations. So those investigators swooped in and saved the day,
That's so good.
and just the nick of time. And we will forever be grateful for them. And yeah, there's not even any words for how really smart they are. It was Klein and Edwards, and they're smart, and they're really my heroes, because without them, somehow it remained a cold case for 4 years or something, despite being probably a pretty simple case to resolve, being that there's 8. And a lot of crimes that go unsolved, there's one perpetrator or maybe 2. And so it's easier for 1 to 2 people to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah.
When there is 8 involved, there's a lot. And they weren't keeping their mouths shut. And they weren't, for many years, they were talking little bits here and there. It later came out. And also with 8, it's a lot easier to put pressure on them. Oh yeah, well, we got a couple that are talking, so you might as well talk. But somehow I don't know, the police just never took Mom's statement, and really kind of let things go for too long. Hunter, yeah, little to nothing is absolutely correct. And no, please, nobody think for a second I'm not trying to disrespect the police. Ever since this happened, my whole life I've grown up respecting the police. That's my dream job to this day. I'm 36. I just had a spine surgery, and now I'm hoping to follow through with my dream of becoming a police officer now that my back is fixed. So I don't mean that to sound disrespectful to the police in any way, but the police that handled my sister's case absolutely did a terrible job, and there's no
100%.
way around that. That is a fact. They just did awful. So we did end up, 7 out of the 8 people pled guilty. And I'm thankful for that, because we did do one trial. And that was, oh my God, that's one of the hardest things to go through, is to hear the details and to listen to the mouths of 8 monsters. And they truly are monsters, because, as a child, me and my little sisters, we just knew that bad guys got our sister. And, whether it's a bad guy or a monster under the bed, it's the same type of thing. It's a new fear that we didn't know existed until suddenly our life was destroyed. And that's when we found out what monsters were. So,
So can I
so
just
yeah,
ask? It was 3 women and 5 men, wasn't it?
correct. Yeah.
3 women and 5 men.
Yeah.
What were their age ranges? What were they? What kind of age were they all?
Um, Dorothy and June were 17. Those are two of the girls. And Maggie was 18. And then Jeff Boyette was 17.
Hmm.
And AJ Alan Walter was 19.
Hmm.
Keith Foster was 24.
God, okay.
24 or 21? Oh crap. Um,
Don't worry about that too much. I just wondered kind of what ages they kind of were. And I just wanted to point it out because I know we don't want to go too much into the
oh,
crime, but this was one 13-year-old little girl against
right.
8 people who were far older than her, and it all conspired to stop her from reporting an essay, and so they decided to take her life in a really horrific way. Um,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to point out for everyone because we
Oh, she froze. Froze for me
obviously
anyway. Up there.
have I froze?
I know. There you are. You're back.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Keith was 21. So Keith was 21 and AJ was 19, and that's the two that Maryann was pressing the charges on. Um, and Ron was 24 and he was the oldest. And Dean
Okay.
Dupas, I can't remember for sure, but he was probably around 21. Whoops. Whoops. He's the only one whose age I don't remember exactly. But oh, yeah, so they
That's
ranged
fine.
from from two of the girls and one of the boys being 17 to the oldest, Ron Rajak, being 24.
24.
So young
Okay.
adults, but adults, nonetheless.
Okay. Yeah, still,
Um,
yeah, still a lot older than your sister, and a lot more of them.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, the details that um so she was kidnapped, driven down there, um, and then it was physical assault. Um, that was pretty awful, involving all three of the girls. And I don't want to be incorrect, but I, w- I believe AJ was involved in the physical assault. That part I can't say for a 100% certainty, but I do know that the girls were involved.
Yeah.
Um, and so after there was the physical assault by the girls, and then SA by all five guys. Just
Mhm.
it just kept going on and on for.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole crime. It was a few hours down at the river. It was a river road. It's, a dark, desolate road that runs along the river, with a few pull-offs. Not very many. There was maybe 6 to 10 pull-offs along the whole road, and the road is maybe five, five, 5 miles, maybe.
At least it goes from the Milford to Garrison.
Yeah, I'm not positive how many miles. Probably more than 5 miles. Under
Maybe it's
10,
country dirt.
but like a country road where there's not people traveling, especially on a cold October night. Um, so, very much alone and, dark, and being October, towards the end of October, it was cold, and it wasn't very long before she wasn't dressed. And so it was, just a pretty terrible, terrible experience for anybody. But I mean, really for anybody, but for a 13-year-old child, that's like
Horrific.
horrific. Absolutely horrific. Yeah, and then they didn't even, like, a few of them at different times after the crime, AJ, the main person, like he was the one who said, like, oh, let's scare her the Sicilian way, which is putting your head underwater and then pulling it out, and then putting your head underwater and then pulling it out. And like that was his idea. And so they didn't just drown her. They tortured and terrorized her by dunking her and pulling her out over and over. And then on that last time, he did it until the bubbles stopped. And that's what they say. That's what they testify to. That was like their phrase is like the bubble stopped. And then, so yeah, AJ one time after the fact, I don't recall exactly how long, but a couple years, maybe 2 years or so later, he walked the wood line up along our property, the same woods that I was always scared of, seeing in the dark. He came walking up that wood line, and me and my mom were on our back deck and could see him walking with Scott. Scott didn't know, so we'll never hold that against Scott. He didn't know. But yeah, he had the audacity to walk right along our wood line, right. He wouldn't look at us. I'll never forget it. It was very strange because it was Scott, who was, like my mom's son she never had. He was the blonde boy. And this guy. And Scott is never like shy. And all of a sudden there goes AJ, who wouldn't even look up. And that's pretty telling. And I wish he had. I wish my mom had just gone right out there and confronted him. But and there was another time not too long after, it was during the 9 months before she was found, that Maggie, my mom was at Burger King, and this was during the search for Maryann, and Maggie pulled up in her minivan that had the back window, not the back window on the door, but one of the back side windows on, a mid-90s square Dodge Caravan, that style van. And one of that back side windows had black garbage bags taped on that window. We later found out that happened from the SA that Maryann kicked that window out. So Maggie pulled up to my mom with her van that had evidence, and I'm sure there was other DNA and biological evidence. And she had the audacity to give my mom her phone number and said, if you ever need a babysitter while you're out searching for Maryann, I'll come sit with the girls. If you need somebody to come over and clean the house for you because you've got a lot going on, I'll come clean the house. But she literally told my mom she would come babysit us while she searched for my sister. That is a cold-blooded animal. And she's free. She got out October 10th, 2019, and she currently lives 25 minutes away from me in the next major city.
Wow.
Not major city like New York City, but one of Connecticut's cities, Waterbury. Yeah. And she wasn't really the first one. June talked. No, June talked.
Remember we were at school when you were in school with Jen?
Scott, I just read that. Um, yeah, I was actually in school with June's little sister towards the end of those 5 years, that long wait. And
Yeah.
she would come into school. She lived with her sister, or stayed with her sister a lot. So she was at June's house often, but she went to school with me, and she would come into this little tiny. We were in. There was what, 15 students. It was a small alternative school. I chose to attend there because high school was really becoming too difficult for me. Being around all of Maryann's friends and peers, I couldn't handle it. And so I transferred out and went to the little school, and June's sister was there. And she was a friend of mine. She was actually a friend of mine since 6th grade when Maryann went missing. And she had no idea that her sister was involved in taking her life. And it's weird because I would sit with her in lunch in 6th grade when Maryann was missing, um, like the days after she was missing, and I would cry to her, that I wanted my sister to come home, and and she would say, like, we have the same name, and she would say, Jenny, she's gonna come home, and we didn't know that her sister was there that night. And then here we are again in the same little school, high school, a few years later. And she's coming in and telling me the detectives were at our house last night. And she would tell me little bits and pieces of what she would overhear June telling them. And the night that one of the biggest pieces of DNA evidence that solved the case, it was DNA, but also just kind of, in a way, circumstantial, was that the clothing Maryann was wearing that night after they put her into the river, they took her clothing. Oh, there she is. They took her clothing
Sorry,
and
I
put
just
it
turned on
in.
my Wi-Fi thing.
Oh, so there was a discarded washing machine down at the marina, the boat marina, which is where they put her body into the water, and
Yeah.
that's where they put her clothing. Well, almost 5 years later, when June was working with the detectives, the investigators, she told them about that, and they went down there. She went with them and pointed them out to the area, and sure enough, that washer was there. It now had a lot of debris dumped on it by the city, like boulders and, like, I don't know, like street sweepings kind of stuff. I don't know. And so they brought in a small excavator, and they were able to get the washer out from under that pile. And that is where they found her clothing, and that they knew that June, she was telling the truth. And I mean, she was talking to save herself. She started this rumor that she was going to get the $50,000 reward that the governor of our state had posted. And we had a large billboard for a long time in our little town, right on Route 7, the main road, that said, $50,000 reward by Governor Rowland. And yeah, so she was telling people she was going to get the reward money for solving this crime that she was a part of. So that was interesting. No, Tori, June is not free. Thankfully, June is not free. But June has a 1584 hearing. It's a type of hearing that there was a law change here in Connecticut that allows minors that were convicted of, I don't know exactly what it is, the way it's written, but basically minors at the time of serious crimes have a chance at a hearing that they wouldn't have had a chance to have. Now they get to plead their case. Like, I was a kid when I did it, I should be able to go free. So she has that hearing April 20th of 2024. It is very similar to a parole hearing. So our family will attend that, and the public, anybody, can write letters and send it to the parole board. And typically before they come up, about a month or two before, we start sharing the information on how to do that.
Okay.
So yeah, so June, she will have that. That's the type of hearing that Dorothy just had and lost.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. A couple months. I can't remember the date, but Dorothy, yeah, she just had one and lost. So, I mean, I feel confident that June would lose to us, even if it's just our family, because,
Yeah.
we're really good at the way we fight for her. But we do have the possibility for anybody to also say, like, why you disagree that she should be released early and stuff like that.
So did
I
they
get
get
it.
life sentences?
So nobody got, they didn't use the term life sentence, I don't believe, other than AJ and Keith. And I want to say that they both actually got 65 years, possibly. It's so hard to keep track with there being
I
8 of
imagine.
them.
I hate
It's
it.
just such a, what is this for? My phone?
So does this sound right? Maggie got 30 years in prison. Jeffrey got
No.
50. Does that sound right?
No, Jeffrey, I think is 27.
Right, okay, so he
And
was
I
sentenced
think it's
50, get
20.
out in 25.
yeah,
So,
Jeff is eligible for release 2027, maybe. Keith went to
so who was
trial and
it?
got 110 years. Wow,
So
Keith has
Maggie got,
110 years. Sorry.
okay, so Maggie's the one that got out already.
Yeah, she
Okay,
served not even 19 years. It was
wow.
just shy of 19 years, a few days shy of 19 years, 10 days or 9 days or something.
Okay,
Um,
and so who was the trial? Who refused to plead guilty?
that was Keith Foster.
Okay,
And then Ron Rajak, it doesn't look, when you see the way it's like spelled Rajcok. It's kind of Rajcock, but they
that's what I would
pronounce
say.
it, yeah, they pronounce it Rajak or Rajak. Um, it was quite funny because he asked for a sentence reduction um, at an appeals court, I believe it was called. I could be wrong, but he asked for a sentence reduction, and the judge was like, "How dare you put this family through this?" And he increased his sentence,
Oh, good.
Yeah.
and
I love that.
that was probably maybe 10 or more, 10, could be 10 years or so
God.
after the he was already sentenced. It was some time later. I don't remember how long, but it was like, yeah, no, I think he added on 6 years to his sentence, and I thought that felt like justice because, like, how dare you make us go through that? The
Yeah, for
fear
sure.
that he may have a sentence reduction, just knowing that we were about to face that in court it's so hard. It's just, you can't help but to cry, and then you're supposed to write a letter and write your statement, and sitting down to do that is like, it's just as hard as the first time. It doesn't get
Yeah,
easier. And yes, that judge really, he had our back.
for sure.
Jeff got 50 suspended after 25, Aunt Linda just said. So Jeff was arrested October of 2020, 2001. And so that would mean 26. It would be, I guess he'll be eligible after October of 26. However, for every month of good time, you earn 1 week off of your sentence, which is why like Maggie didn't serve the sentence she was given because she earned good time. So Jeff, he could end up out in 2025, really.
Wow.
I wish I could read all of these. Um, Ron got 46 years. I think it was 40 originally, and then it became 46 because of what he asked for. Um, Donna, Jeff did not get additional time, but I think he lost at his 1584 hearing, and when he lost at his 1584 hearing, he was ineligible for the extra time off. So the soonest he can get out is when he's eligible for parole after 26 years, 25 years. Mm. Hey, what's up?
So the acrobat folder hurts a lot.
Could you just maybe give him an ibuprofen or something and just have a discussion? My son came in with a sore shoulder.
Oh,
So
hope he's okay.
my husband's gonna go see what's up. Oh, my back is hurting so bad right now. Oops, hold on a second. So, sorry. I've been sitting here for 2 hours and I just had back surgery, so I'm like, ugh. There we go. Oh, I had to just scoot my butt back. I got it.
Are you okay? You sure don't need a break or anything if your back's hurting? Sorry.
Yeah, is it possible to do like a little pause for a moment, or do I just walk away for a minute? Is that okay?
That's fine. We could, even if you need a proper break, we can come in back and do it another night if you want to go into other stuff about your sister and everything else, like what's going on at the moment. I know it's a lot all at once, but I feel like because we've done the actual crime now. I feel like that will ease it for you. We can even do it tomorrow night. We can even come back and get into your sister's legacy and what's going on with your mum now, and what's going on with what your sister's doing on social media. Because if you really want to get
Yeah,
into it, we could do that.
yeah, because that would be a good idea. We've been here for 2 hours, and there's probably another 2 hours of conversation left.
No, definitely. I'd love to keep doing it, and
Yeah.
I'd love to. I really want to hear from you what we can do to help, whether it's letter writing, whether it's joining your Facebook group, no matter what it is. I've got another case with another sister actually who's lost her brother in the UK tomorrow. But by your time at 8 o'clock, I'll be finished. So we
Okay.
could do that.
Yeah, I would
Right.
actually really like that. I would like that a lot.
I think you've been so brave tonight, but you've covered so much. I'd like to give you a break and just give you some time with your son and your daughter's come home and your husband's there and your friends there. I think everyone would agree just how amazing you've done tonight and how much you've made your sister so proud. She's watching over you, just thinking what a Trojan you've been tonight. Honestly, you've done so well. Like you've been
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. And it's not just for me. It really is. It's really for Maryann and for all of us. So I
No, thank you
appreciate
for
you
sharing a
coming here
piece.
tonight.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing a
you.
piece with your sister with us and letting us all to get to know Maryann and hearing about your mum and your family and all the people who've come in to support you. You've literally had people who remembered your sister, people who've been there for you, people who love your mum. But we'd love to do this again tomorrow night and really get into it because I don't want to limit you to time when you've got your family and everyone around you.
Okay.
But
That sounds good. That sounds really good.
okay. Thank
Okay,
you so
so
much for tonight, and we'll resume tomorrow night at your time, 8 o'clock again.
thank you so much.
Brilliant. I hope you sleep well. I hope your back feels okay. Sorry for keeping you sat still for so long.
Thank
It
you.
was lovely to meet you, and we'll see you
Lovely to meet
tomorrow.
you. All right. See you
Thank
then.
you, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.